Coach, this is obviously a pro day, but you didn't coach most of these guys. What does it mean for you, though, to have a pro day here, and this is your first one with these guys that have been here and played all these years?
Well, first off, I mean, it's an honor, right? When you wear the Deacon on your chest, when you finish the journey here, can't wait for you to take that next step in your journey, because one of the big things and reasons why you are here is to chase this NFL dream as long as you can. And Coach Clausen has done an amazing job. Not only are these 13 guys that are going to compete today, we have 17 guys currently from Wake Forest in the NFL. That is an impressive number. So you're coming here, our guys are getting developed, and this is something I'm here to support our alumni base, right? This isn't guys that I've coached, as you alluded to. But once you're here, once you wear our logo and our jersey, it means something. And I want these guys to be proud of their program and to be able to come back and represent us to the highest fashion.
What are some of the ways you've gone to make them feel still at home at Wake Forest? Like you said, they're not your guys, but they're your guys now.
Yeah,
right?
They're our guys. I always take that approach. The best part is they've been willingly taking a part of being out at practice. And then just getting some of their feedback. They love the new energy. They love how aggressively we're coaching the guys. And that's not nothing against the past. It is just a new mentality. And it's just really great to have them around. And what I want to do is make sure we have an open door. This is their home. This will forever be their home. Mark Holcomb is just named our new alumni coordinator, and is going to be bridging the gap between the guys that have been here in the past and our future and our new coaching staff. So really honored to have these guys compete today and look forward to supporting them.
One of the guys that was your guy for a couple of years is Cam Ward,
yeah,
who very well could be the number one pick in the entire draft. What's it like for you to be in a position to see him at that level and know that you had a part, pretty big part, in his being recognized and developed?
Yeah, I would say a small part, but I would say this, though, Les, that what a journey he's been on. I mean, his story is amazing, from a small town wing T, West Columbia kid, to getting that one offer. Obviously I hired Eric Morris as our staff, who was his head coach at Incarnate Word. And our 2 years together was an amazing journey. Cam is such a unique talent. I think the one thing, when you really evaluate quarterback play, tell me about the intangibles. And this kid is off the charts competitive. You feel it when you meet him, how he carries himself, how he talks about it. And you're talking about a guy that had to go into 3 different teams and win the locker room. Exactly what he's going to have to do at the next level. And I think, hopefully, if anything I did to add value to him was work on those leadership pieces. We took him from a thrower. We changed some of his footwork in year 2, increased his accuracy, but he has a gunslinger mentality. I've never seen the seam anticipation and throws that he can make and coordinate. And just, like I said, can't wait for Cam and his family to come off the board, because he has earned, and I mean that, earned everything that he's going to get over the next couple months.
Have you talked to Cam through the process?
I have not. I've just kind of supported him from afar. I know, through his journey of the last year, it's been a whirlwind. I believe that he's in the right position with the right people around him. And what I love, his family, the recruiting story is funny, because every time I would see his mom, Patrice, she'd come up to me and say, "Coach, you better be coaching his ass hard." Right? And I was like, that is exactly what he needs around him. That's how he grew up. That was the mentality of the family. And it just shows kind of why he is the way he is today, and why, more importantly, though, he's ready for this next step in this journey. I'm just really proud of him.
With your experience of pro days in Pullman, have you talked to any of the guys who are going to be out here today about what to expect, how to take advantage of pro day?
Well, I think the biggest thing, when I just talked to them before, they did the heights and weights upstairs, is that relax. You've done this a million times. Remember, this is still a game of pads and helmets and not tights and t-shirts, right? So to understand that, this is part of the evaluation process. But that tape, right, and what you put on, whatever 1 through 4 years here, is still the biggest thing. So relax and perform and do something that you've done a million times. And I just like to make sure they understand, like, you've been through this, just go out there and do it.
Branson, how was your day?
It was good. It's cool to be able to get back out here. We've been training for months, kind of just for this day. So to be able to kind of put it all out for show, kind of show what I've been working on. It was awesome just to be able to get this opportunity.
Think you left a good impression on the scouts today?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the body of work that I did out here, there's only so much you can do out here too. It's a lot of your body of work through playing football over 6 years, you know. They've seen a lot, I've been able to see a lot of my tape, so yeah, to just kind of put something on top of that, kind of icing on the cake. Obviously there's things, anytime, any game or workout, there's things you want to get back or things you're like, I could have done better there, and that's going to be the same every time. Just as a competitor, you're always going to want to be better, but yeah, as a whole, I mean, I feel good about it.
It's another step in the process for you. How's that been going, the off-season workouts, and kind of what's next for you?
Yeah, it's been work. It's a lot. There's no school. It's just work, you know. Every day, twice a day, whatever it is, it's a lot of working out, a lot of just football. So it's awesome. It's what you kind of dream about as a kid. Like there's nothing else no school, nothing. You just football all day. So really, it's just a dream come true. It's awesome. It's like, you know, living a dream where you just get to play football all day, every day. So it's been really awesome.
Branson, you have the guy who recruited you here, and Dave Clausen hanging around, you know, making sure you guys are performing well, cheering you on. But you also have the new and Jake Dickert also supporting you here. How weird of that is a feeling, but how good does it feel that you have both old and new here supporting you, cheering you on?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, I think it just goes to show how kind of it is around here at Wake Forest. It's a close community. It's a tight-knit group where like even guys who are gone, like Coach Clausen's not coaching anymore, but he's going to be around. Either coaches last year, my position coaches, DCs, you know, keeping in contact with them throughout the process too. It's like that's just kind of the community it is. You're going to stay in touch with these people because it's a lot of good people.
What's been asked? Sorry, I got down here.
No, you're good.
Well, have you been out for a practice yet? And if so, what have you seen?
I haven't been out for practice. I was going to go on Tuesday, and then I was like, probably get some more sleep with pro day coming out. So I'm staying here. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be in practice. So I guess I get to see then. I can't really answer right now. I haven't seen it.
What are you hearing from folks who are talking you through this process in terms of what you need to do and what the outlook is for you?
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of different feedback. I mean, a lot of it's just put your head down and work. It's really, I mean, like, you just keep working. Things are going to work out how they're supposed to, you know. If you're doing the right things and, you know, working every day, doing the little things, not taking stuff for granted, you know, things are going to work out. You're going to end up where you need to be. So that's really it. It's just taking it a day at a time, getting better every day, and, you know, things will work itself out.
What does the recovery look like from a day like this? Is the ice bath just going to feel amazing
yeah.
after this?
I got some Epsom salt at home. I'll definitely be in one of those. I'll be able to go back and relax, see my family. You know, obviously there's going to be, I'll hop in the Epsom salt bath. I know that for sure. And then it'll be a lot of, you know, stretching and kind of the normal recovery stuff. So I don't know exactly how to go. I figured out how I feel. But yeah, no, for sure.
Good.
All right, thanks, Branson.
Thanks, Branson.
All right, yeah. No problem.
I'm just happy, you know, to compete with my teammates and to come back around, you know, just to see the old stomping grounds, man. You know, I've been gone for 3 months, you know, and it's a new coaching staff and everything, but, you know, we still got the same guys, you know, and it's probably great to come back, you know, you put on a show for everybody, you know what I'm saying? So that was the most important thing for me.
Were you happy with the numbers you put together?
Yes, sir. I was just happy, you know, to compete, you know. At the end of the day, I feel like I gave it my all, you know, regardless if I had good numbers or not, you know, I'm just happy to be here and I'm blessed to be in this position.
Do you feel any kind of pressure? You got the scouts here. It's a big chance to put on a show for them, really exhibit your strengths.
No, so I wouldn't really call it pressure because, you know, play football at the highest level, you know, and I just feel like, you know, it's just another stepping stone in my life. I feel like that, you know, today was the opportunity to get in front of scouts, you know, and for them to see how I move as a player, you know, and also to pick my brain, you know, because I went to Wake Forest, you know, and it's the best of both worlds, man. And we done went through, you know, a lot of ups and downs in life, but, you know, that's what life is. Life has a lot of adversity, you know. So I didn't really take today as a, you know, I was nervous, you know, because, you know, anytime, you know, when you're in front of anybody, you know, and you have to put on a performance, you know, it's nervousness, but, you know, I feel like I worked for it, I'm prepared for it, you know, and I feel like that, you know, today went well for me, so.
Were you surprised with your skill and production that you didn't get an invite to the combine? And then since you did not, what's some of the keys for you to overcome that to rise up the charts?
Well, I mean, I feel like, you know, growing up, watching the combine every year, you know, and missing the opportunity to go to it, you know, I took it to heart. I feel like at the end of the day, you know, I feel like I had the numbers and I had the resume, you know, to get invited or get, you know, put up against the best. But like I said, it's life, you know. Sometimes things don't go my way, and I can't really just, you know, point fingers, you know. Only thing I can do is just, you know, look in the mirror and understand, you know, that God put me in this position, you know, to go through things like this, you know, through the ups and downs, not getting invited, You know what I'm saying? Like, it hurt, but, you know, I just took that as motivation because, like I said, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the day's not going to end unless, you know, I do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like today I came out here and I showed what I needed to show. And like I said, you know, I just hope that somebody can take a chance on me. And when they do, you know, I'm thankful.
People don't come out and start doing these activities without practicing them first. Where have you been training and where have you been preparing for today?
So I was training in Exos in Gulf Breeze, Pensacola, Florida. And, you know, I just been out there since January 1st, you know, getting the training there. You know, for the first time it snowed down there. So, you know, I was in an uncommon environment, you know. The first time being on my own, you know, not affiliated with anybody, you know, it was different, you know. But I embraced the challenge, you know, I embraced, you know, being in that environment, you know. I got to train with some of the best, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just feeding off each other. And, yeah, it got me to where I am today. And, you know, I'm just thankful to be in this position today. So.
Did you get any feedback from any of the scouts out here yet?
Not really, but, you know, the day just ended, so we still got, you know, a couple more days or weeks and stuff like that. So, you know, I just got to keep my phone, you know, keep my phone on, you know, because I never know what's next. But like I said, you know, I'm just thankful to be in this position today. And, you know, hopefully, you know, I showed the scouts, you know, enough for them to take a chance on me. So.
Jasheen, you mentioned best of both worlds. You kind of have a little different with that. You know, Clausen's here, and you see Coach Dickert here is now too. What were their messages to you guys, you know, both old and new, and what does it mean that you can have both, you know, the guy who brought you in here and the guy that's taken over now to support?
Well, you know, just seeing Coach Clausen, you know, for the first time after the season, you know, it's an honor, man, because, you know, he was the one that took a chance on me, that recognized my talent, you know, in high school, you know, to get to where I am today, you know, and you know, me and Coach Dickert, you know, he has the juice, you know, it's a lot younger staff, you know what I'm saying, so, you know, they have a lot of energy, you know, they're vibrant and everything, you know, and I like what they're bringing to the team. You know, I only went to one practice, but, you know, from that practice that I've been to, I could see, you know, what they're trying to build. You know what I'm saying? And I trust the vision, you know. And, you know, the most important thing is just to keep stacking good days together, you know, for them and for me too personally, because, you know, in order for you where you want to be at in life, you know, you have to work hard. So that's just, you know, that's the mantra. And, you know, hopefully the sky's the limit for everyone.
When you at that practice was a little bit of an itch to get a helmet and some pads and you're like, hey, no, I can rep in a little bit.
So, because like I said, you know, it's first time not being affiliated with anybody, you know. I'm still a weight grad, you know. Thank God I'm a weight grad, but, you know, I can come back, you know, and I can just scope the scenery out. But, you know, anytime that someone's playing football, you know, I'm a football player at the end of the day. So, yeah, I was itching to put the pads back on. But, you know, the NFL's next for me, you know. The pro level's next for me, and, you know, that's my time to shine. So just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, for a guy your size, you know, you were moving well out there for a guy your size. You know, what does the training look like for, you know, guys that as big as you to come move as well as you did?
Yeah, I'd say I spent the last 10 weeks down in Atlanta, just, you know, on the grind every day, where I had to, you know, share body comp but still manage my load, but still, you know, do all the work that it requires to come out here and move like I did today. So that was something that was really exciting for me. I was down at Velocity, and, you know, they've got a great crew over there that took care of me and helped me, you know, come put the performance on that I did today. So I'm feeling really good right now.
Did you hear what your 40 time was?
I'm not sure what it was, but I felt like I was moving.
You were. You were. How does, just to be able to come out here and perform the way you did today, how does that, you know, that must be a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling for sure. And I say, you know, it's the same feeling you have every Saturday when you take the field, or hopefully Sundays now. It's that same feeling when you take that field and you know, you lead your team to a win. You got the whole off season to train for the season, and then it's time to perform, and that's basically what I just did. Like I said, I spent the past 10 weeks down the line getting ready for this day and this moment, and, you know, I showed up, so I'm really excited.
Where did you train in Atlanta?
A facility called Velocity.
Okay.
Was there any particular drill you did today where you came away saying, dang, that was good, man. I hope everybody saw that.
I think I started off right on the vert. I think I jumped 29.5, so I was feeling good from the very beginning of the day. So.
Were you nervous at all coming in?
I was definitely nervous, but, you know, it's the same feeling. I think anytime you're excited about something where you've got to perform, you're going to be nervous if you care. And I think I care a lot about what was going on, and I think everybody out here cared a lot about what was going on. So, you know, I think it's natural to be nervous, but as long as you're still able to show up and get your work done, nervous is a good thing.
Devo, you had both Clausen and Dickert here. You know, what were their messages to you? Were there any differences in their messaging, and how does it feel that the past and future, of Wake Forest are
Yeah.
here to support you?
No, it felt really good. I think both of their messages were really similar. Like I just said, I performed in front of a bunch of people a bunch of times. And so, like last night, I was trying to tell myself, although I was nervous, like it's just like any other Saturday. It's just like any other game, any other performance, things like that. And that's kind of the same thing. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You're out here doing what you're best at. You've been working at it for years. So, yeah, it felt good to have both of them in here smiling and supporting me and the guys. So, yeah.
What was that like having Dave here? I mean, he was the guy, who coached you last. What was it like having him here in particular?
Yeah, for sure. I say, I've been here for 6 years. I committed 7 or 8 years ago. So me and Clausen are pretty much family at this point. So it was really good to have him out here, just to show his support and give words of motivation and things like that.
Have you been able to pay much attention to what's taken place here yet over the last couple months? Have you been at a practice yet, or?
Yeah, I came out to practice on this past Saturday. It looked like all the guys were having a lot of fun and moving around and flying around. So I'm excited for the future of this program.
Did you get any feedback yet from any of the scouts out here?
I haven't gotten any feedback,
Okay.
but that's something I'm looking forward to. When they talk to myself and my agent, I'm looking forward to that and just seeing what's ahead for me.
That last 40 you ran, it felt like you were.
I felt a lot better than the first one, because the very first one I slipped, but the second one I felt a lot better. Had a lot of good lean coming out, so yeah.
Where did you train and prepare for this last 3 months?
I was out in Flowery Branch, Georgia, with Ian Childers. He hit me up during the season. I was like, I'm ready. And plus, it's close to home, so it was a good thing.
You had Dave here, obviously, and Coach Dickert here now as well. What were their messages to you, and how did it feel to have, kind of both sides of the equation now, coming out to support you today?
Seeing Clausen again, it was good energy as always, But yeah, it was really just good energy. He said he was proud of me. He was telling me my times and stuff, making sure I was good. So that was a good thing.
Have you had a chance much to get to know the new coach here?
No, I haven't met him yet. No.
Okay, so you haven't come out to practice or anything yet.
What's going out there tomorrow though? For sure.
What's next for you? Obviously, besides ice bath and some Epsom salt.
Just think I'm gonna take like a few days break, just to make sure my body is 100% going into whatever I get invited to, mini camp or things like that. So just rest and do DB drills. Be good.
What kind of guidance are you getting from your agent in terms of the next steps to come and what you need to do to put yourself in a good position come draft day?
He really helped me like mentally. Just make sure I'm gaining a mental edge. So that's one thing that really stands out that my agent does for me.
How do you get that mental edge? What are some of the steps you take?
Just manifesting and visualizing everything I do.
He had it there.
Yeah, he's been trying.
I can't imagine why you'd be parched.
Yeah, that was good work today. It was a lot of good work.
So manifesting and just kind of visualizing the end or the process?
The process, even just visualizing pro day, going through every drill, like in the shower, just visualizing everything. So yeah.
I'm assuming you've been out here for your teammates in previous years, so it's probably pretty easy for you to kind of visualize what this was going to look like, right?
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Did you learn anything from those times coming out to watch your teammates?
Just seeing how focused they were during everything, all the drills, like really no playing around. And of course, it's cool to see like all your old teammates and stuff, but they were really like locked in. So that's one thing I learned.
It's not playtime.
Yeah, not at all.
Speaking of teammates, all the guys that are still here were out supporting you. I saw a bunch of them over there. What was your message to them, after you guys' last games? What did you want to leave your mark with the rest of the DBs and the rest of the defense?
Just make sure I'm a helping hand. Like if they ever need anything, want to talk about anything, just making sure. Let them know that they can always come to me. I keep it real with them.
Way too. So
yeah.
Very much appreciate the coverage.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.
Good.
What, you guys ready? I'm sorry. Yeah. How did you do out there today? What do you believe you accomplished?
Yeah, I think I did solid. I was a little nervous. Just I hadn't done it. I started training a little later. With the birth of my son, so I started training in the middle of February. Most guys start beginning of January. So I thought, just credit to the guys that I trained with that got me ready. Had a couple of curveballs as far as the receivers that were going. Had some EQ guys, some recruiting guys running routes for me. Taylor was spotting up, so just had to adjust. That's a game of life, game of ball. So I was excited and honored to be able to do this and just kind of put a cap on my college career. So it's a lot of ups and downs, and it was really nice to come back and see everybody. And a lot of new faces though too. So.
Where did you train over the last month and a half?
So I trained at back home at 3DQB in Southern California, Huntington Beach. And so just did a lot of stuff with them. I used to go there in high school and did some. I've trained there, basically since I was in high school. So it was nice to get out there. Hartman used to train out there, or still trains out there. So saw him out there. So yeah, it was great to be home and just get a tan and so.
Walk us through. You mentioned the birth of your son.
Mm-hmm.
Give us all the details there. What's it like being a father, and how's mother doing, and how are you adjusting to all this?
And how'd you name him Bronco?
Yeah, so just I've been taking a lot of credit for saying a lot of sleepless nights, and I've kind of been doing everything. But I left and started doing training when he was like 2 weeks, so I really haven't been around, to be honest. She's credit to her. She's been doing everything, and she's just been a great mom. And it was a great experience. He came a little later, so I actually had I was the most nervous I've ever been, more than any game or anything. I actually had a panic attack when they said he was coming, because he was on the list to get induced. She was, so they called at 4 a.m, and the doc the day before was saying they probably won't be till next week, and they called that night. So I was just like, what? He said it wasn't coming, and I got all nervous, and then he was born, and he actually had a little bit of fluid in his lungs, so he was in the NICU. Here at Novant. He was born in Winston-Salem, and so we named him Bronco. She actually wanted that name, so that's the name she wanted, because I was gonna name him after my dad, which his full name is Bronco Michael Donald Bachmeier. Mm-hmm. And so it's Bronco's on the birth certificate. That's what she wanted. It was in her belly for 9 months, and that was a name we wanted. Obviously, she went to Boise State, I went to Boise State, and then my brother's names are Tiger Bear and Buck, so it was just kind of a credit to both in that sense, but I really wanted to name him after my father. So, yeah.
What was it like for you the first time you was able to hold Bronco?
Yeah, it was a great experience. There's nothing like it. Like labor, I didn't think I was going to be able to go through it, to be honest. But when it's your own son, I think you kind of, God gives you some strength to do it. And saw everything and was able to hold him for a second, but they had to rush him kind of the NICU right away, so we didn't really get to do the whole. Was it golden hour thing or whatever? So we weren't able to do that, but he's healthy, and those Novant nurses and doctors were incredible. So
what'd you think of your performance out here today?
I thought I did well. I was a little nervous, and like I said, there were some curveballs with the receivers. Didn't really have too many. We literally got a recruiting intern that he told me last night that he played D3 tight end a couple years ago. So he did a great job. Some of our chemistry, we got to take him to dinner or something. And then Taylor, after running the 40, decided just to not run routes. So that was a little curveball right there. And then there were a couple guys that were planning on running, and then with spring ball and everything, there were some complications. And obviously spring ball comes first. I totally get that. So just as far as the chemistry, Tristan Glass, he was the one running all those routes. He looks like he's going to be a great receiver for us. So. He ran a lot. Credit to him, because he was going. He was the only guy in Tanner and Ryan Henley were the only guys really fully going, and then Taylor spotted some. So it was good to get that, and I thought I did well overall. And like I said, it's been a cap on a great college career, ups and downs, and just excited for what's next. See what happens. I started my family. A lot's changed really fast. So just the structure of college football has kind of gone. So just trying to find that next step. Excited to see where everything goes.
What was it like having Dave Clawson out here watching you?
He looks like he's getting a tan. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he said he's been traveling a little bit, so it was great seeing him, and just incredibly grateful that he gave me this opportunity. I know we didn't win as many games as we would have liked, but this is a tremendous university that I'm so honored to say that I received a master's from here and attended here and played football here, because there's incredible people. I walked in the locker room the other day. I think they had finished walkthroughs, and just everybody was just coming to greet me, and they were just phenomenal. So.
Any thoughts on the new staff? Have you had a chance to meet with them, see a practice, anything like that?
I actually didn't see a practice yet, so I can't tell you there, but I know the guys are loving it. I think the staff is, I would say, age-wise, I think a lot of them are younger from what they're saying. So I know they're West Coast guys with Washington State, and some guys at Colorado State that I kind of know. So some of them were recruiting. Washington State was recruiting some of my brothers and stuff. So kind of knew them a little bit. Officially met Dickert the other day. Seems like a great guy, but I really haven't met too much of the staff yet.
What are the next steps for you when the next 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, so I'm actually catching a flight tonight back to LAX. I'm doing the Chargers Local Pro Day. So that's tomorrow morning at like 8 in the morning. So catching a flight here in a couple of hours out of Charlotte and going there. And then I'll be coming back here for the Panthers Local Pro Day, April 8th or 9th. And then see what goes from there. I really don't know this process too well yet. It's kind of uncharted territory for me. So.
And what were you able to accomplish?
Yeah, so my first 40 run, my hamstring tightened up there at the end, and I mean, felt good enough to finish the shuttle and L drill, which I was happy about. But at the end of the day, for me, it was just coming out here and competing, right? So I mean, even though that happened, limited me a little bit physically, I came out here and gave it everything I got. So I think I was sleep well at night, knowing that I left it all out here.
It's kind of interesting in a way that remembering your story, remembering that you had to come back for a second camp just to run the 40 for Coach Higgins in there.
That's right.
And now you're here running 40s again.
That's right.
In an important spot. How is that?
Full circle moment. And it was funny, during the preparation for today, it was a lot of the same things I was doing my junior year of high school. So it was just kind of a little bit different, but rinse and repeat in some ways. So that was definitely it was a cool full circle moment.
What was it like for you to come back and see all the new faces on the field and on the sidelines? Got to be kind of surreal in a way, right?
Yeah, it was a little unique. I think just coming here and it wasn't what I left it. But just coming in and met Coach Dickert, met a lot of the coaches, the strength staff, and they've all welcomed us with open arms. And just, they say you helped build this place, and so this is your home, and always welcome. And we love to, have you out at practice and in the facility, just getting around the guys. So it was pretty cool just to get around some new faces, meet some new guys on the team, and just, look forward to what Coach Dickert and staff have in store for this year.
What did you see out of practice? Was there anything that caught your eye?
A lot of juice, yeah. I was, just sitting out there at practice, I was ready to strap up and go out there and compete myself. No, just a lot of new faces, and I think for me it was learning who the guys are, but just also looking at what they're doing schematically. And just, I think there's a lot to be excited about on both sides of the ball, just from what I gathered at my 1.5 practices I watched. Just exciting times around here. So
undefeated season coming ahead.
We'll see.
On the flip side, you also had your coach come out to watch you guys too. How did it feel to have Coach Clausen come out and support you guys today?
He's a class act. It's something that he didn't have to do, and we just, speaking on behalf of all those guys that were out here today, it was just, we're all so appreciative of that. And I know he was talking to some of the scouts and, giving us advice through some of the drills. So we were, very fortunate to have him out here.
Where have you been training? How's that going? Mm-hmm. And then what does the next couple weeks, next couple months look like for you?
So I was down in Fort Lauderdale training at a facility called XPE. It's actually where Malik and AT both trained at. So that was it was cool to be able to touch base with those guys, kind of gauge their experience, and go down there and do what they did. So that was cool. But now for the time being, up until the draft, I'll be in state, probably over in Raleigh, training a little bit with Coach N over there. So.
What are you hearing from, I guess, your agent and potential scouts? What kind of guidance are they giving you? Are they telling you that someone's likely to give you a shot?
So we're hearing good things. Just with the
You're so versatile. You can do so many things. I think that really helps, right?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it only takes one team to fall in love with you. Yeah. So, we're hearing good things, but the pre-draft process is it's kind of a crazy experience. I think just talking with some of the guys that have done it before. Hearing good things and just continuing to work, and I think today it helped me. So I think it's something that to keep building off of.